Hello everyone, this is your friend Naruto Fix, and we are back with another epic What If Naruto fanfic. Which is, what if Naruto trained in the hidden mist as a shinobi assassin? If you love Naruto fanfics, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and join the journey with me. So, let's start the fanfic. A different beginning. The hidden leaf was burning. At least, that's what the boy thought as he watched from the shadows, the flickering flames of a destroyed training field reflecting in his blue eyes. This wasn't the same Konoha that once held his dreams. It was colder now, more distant. And he was no longer the same boy who once dreamed of being Hokage. Naruto Uzumaki, the orphan no one wanted, had vanished after one fateful night, the night when everything he believed in crumbled. He had been accused of sabotage after a failed Anbu mission, branded a threat, and nearly executed when the Nine Tails chakra flared uncontrolled. But instead of killing him, the Leaf Elders made a decision in secret: they would banish the boy, erase him quietly, and pretend he never existed. That night, as rain fell over the forest, a masked shinobi from another village found him half dead. "Greater than, you reek of despair," the voice said through the mist. Perfect for Kirigakure. It was Al, the loyal censor of the Mizukage, and behind him, Mei Terumi, the future Mizukage herself. "Greater than, bring him," Mei had said softly. "Let's see if Konoha's demon can learn the art of silence." Answer: Naruto Uzumaki, once the loudest ninja in the leaf, vanished into the mist. The hidden mist shadow training. Kirigakure was a world apart. Gone were the warm streets and bustling ramen stalls of Konoha. The mist was shrouded in fog, secrecy, and blood. Every step echoed discipline. Every breath carried the tension of survival. Under Mei's orders, Naruto was placed in the Silent Corps, the mist's covert assassination division, where emotions were forbidden, names were replaced by numbers, and loyalty was tested through blood. They called him No. 7. For months, he trained among killers. He learned to suppress his chakra until even a Byakugan couldn't sense it. He mastered silent movement, swift execution, and emotionless precision. But what terrified the mist wasn't his potential, it was his adaptation. The boy who once screamed about acknowledgement now killed without a sound. Killer of the mist. His mentor was none other than Zabuza Momoki, the demon of the mist himself, still alive, still bitter, and quietly worky. NG as a hidden instructor for Kirigakure's assassination forces. The village called him a ghost. Naruto called him Sensei. Zabuza saw something in the boy, something raw and unbreakable. "Greater than, you've got anger," Zabuza growled during a training session, the clash of kunai echoing across the trainee. NG Bay. "But anger's useless unless it cuts clean." "Greater than, then teach me to make it cut," Naruto replied, his voice low and steady. Zabuza's grin was cold. "Greater than, good. The first lesson of the mist: emotion dulls the blade. Kill your heart, and nothing can kill you." And so began Naruto's descent, not into hatred, but precision. He learned to coat his kunai in chakra-infused water blades sharp enough to slice through steel. He trained under freezing waterfalls to numb pain. And each night, under the full moon, Zabuza would make him recite one phrase. "Greater than, a true assassin does not fight to win. He fights so there is no fight left to begin." Quote, Mission, the Crimson Dawn. Months passed. Naruto became a weapon. Number 7, the Silent Storm. One night, Mei summoned him personally. "Greater than, you're ready," she said, her amber eyes glinting through the mist. "But I need to know if your loyalty lies with the mist, or still with the leaf." Naruto's gaze didn't waver. "Greater than, the leaf left me to die. My loyalty is to whoever sees me as more than a curse." Mei nodded slowly. "Greater than, then prove it." The mission was simple: assassinate a rogue leaf informant who was leaking intel about Kirigakure's reformation efforts. The target, a former Anbu stationed in the Land of Water's border. Naruto accepted without hesitation. But when he reached the target's hut, when he saw the face beneath the black mask, his hand froze. It was Yamato, the man who once looked after him when no one else did. "Greater than, Naruto, is that you?" Yamato whispered, eyes wide in disbelief. "Greater than, you were supposed to be dead." Naruto's blade was already at his throat. But Yamato didn't fight back. Instead, He smiled sadly. Greater than, you're not like them, you never were. You don't belong in the shadows, Naruto. Greater than, the shadows are all I have left, Naruto replied coldly. The silence that followed was deafening. The mist swirled around them. The tension between assassin and old mentor felt like a thread stretched to breaking. Then, in a flash, Naruto struck. The blade stopped an inch from Yamato's neck. Greater than, leave this place, Naruto hissed. If I see you again, I'll finish the job. Yamato's eyes softened. Greater than, you still have a heart, even if you hate it. As Naruto turned away, his eyes were empty, but his heart pounded. Something was changing, something Zabuza's teachings hadn't erased. Ghost of the Leaf. Back in the mist, Mei noticed the hesitation in Naruto's report. But instead of punishment, she saw opportunity. Greater than, you still feel good, she said. That's what makes you dangerous. Quote, Naruto's eyes narrowed. Greater than, feeling gets you killed. Greater than, no, she countered. It keeps you human. Those words stuck to him. Because deep down, Naruto didn't want to be just an assassin. He wanted to understand the fine line between strength and humanity, a balance the mist had long abandoned. Zabuza's final lesson. When Zabuza learned of Naruto's hesitation, he was furious. Their next spar wasn't training, it was war. Greater than, you hesitate again, and I'll cut you down myself. Zabuza roared, swinging the executioner's blade with killing intent. Naruto dodged, countered, and finally struck, not to kill, but to defend. Zabuza's blade stopped just short of his chest. For a moment, the old demon stared, then began to laugh. Greater than, you're nothing like me, he said. And that's why you'll surpass me. That was the last lesson Naruto received from Zabuza. A week later, the man vanished, presumed dead on a covert mission. Naruto didn't grieve. He didn't smile. He simply whispered into the mist. Greater than, thank you, sensei. Rise of the Mist's Ghost. Years passed. Naruto became Kirigakure's most feared shadow, the unseen assassin who could erase targets without leaving a single drop of blood behind. His chakra control was surgical, his silence absolute. To most, he was a myth, the ghost of the hidden mist. But even legends dream. Sometimes, he still saw Konoha in his sleep, Sakura's laugh, Iruka's warmth, the Hokage monument glowing in the morning sun. Sometimes, he wondered if he'd ever go back. A spark from the leaf. Then came the day that changed everything. While escorting Mei on a diplomatic mission, Naruto sensed a familiar chakra signature among the delegation from Konoha. It was Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja. When their eyes met across the courtyard, time itself seemed to stop. Kakashi's visible eye widened. His voice trembled when he finally spoke. Greater than, Naruto, you're alive. Quote, Naruto didn't reply. He only turned away, his mist headband gleaming where the leaves once had. But something had shifted inside him again. The mist no longer felt like home. The silence he'd mastered now felt suffocating. Mei noticed. Greater than, you've outgrown the mist, she said quietly. Maybe it's time you faced the sun again. Naruto closed his eyes. He didn't know whether to thank her or curse her. But one thing was clear. The mist had shaped him. The leaf had scarred him. And somewhere between them, he would find who he truly was. The whisper of the blade. The rain fell endlessly upon Kirigakure. The mist that hung over the village was so thick that the border between land and sky seemed erased, as if the gods themselves had abandoned the horizon. Naruto stood atop the training cliffs, his hair now longer, darker at the edges from years without sunlight. His mist uniform, black, sleeveless, and fitted for silent movement, carried streaks of salt and blood from countless missions. His kunai hung inverted at his hip, the mark of the silent core. Below him, the village lights were faint, flickering candles lost in the fog. This was the only world that had accepted him without question, but it was also the world that had taught him to kill that very acceptance. Greater than, you hesitate more these days, Mei's voice came from behind him. Naruto didn't turn. You say that like it's a bad thing. Mei stepped beside him, her red hair cascading down her cloak, her amber eyes watching the endless sea of mist. Greater than, hesitation means you still think. The other assassins, they stopped long ago. That's what makes you different, Naruto. He exhaled softly. Different doesn't mean better. It just means I still bleed. Quote, greater than, and that's why you'll never truly be one of us, she said. There was no cruelty in her tone, only a strange kind of sorrow. Naruto smiled faintly. Maybe that's the point. For a moment, neither spoke. The wind shifted, carrying the scent of the ocean, sharp, cold, and metallic. Then Mei's tone hardened. Greater than, you've been assigned to a new mission. It's not political this time. It's personal. Naruto glanced at her. Yours. Greater than, no, she said, her gaze never leaving the mist. Yours. A mission from the past. When Naruto entered the Silent Core Underground Command Center, the entire chamber fell into silence. Dozens of masked assassins, all dressed in the same black uniforms, bowed slightly as he passed. Though he was young, his name, or rather, his number, carried weight. Number 7, the Ghost of the Mist. At the central table, Al waited with scrolls and mission seals. Greater than, target, Leaf Shinobi operating near the Land of Waves, Al said. They're investigating an old network of Orochimarus. The Mizukage believes the Leaf's interference could expose missed operations. Quote, Naruto's expression didn't change. So I eliminate them. Al nodded. There's one more detail. The team leader is Hatake Kakashi. For a brief second, Naruto's heart stuttered. Kakashi, his old sensei, the man who had once promised to protect him, who had once told him, those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. Naruto said nothing. He simply reached for the scroll. Greater than, consider this your test, Al said quietly. To see whether you are truly mist, or still Leaf. Naruto's hand froze for a moment on the parchment. Then, without looking up, he said. Greater than, the Leaf died the night they left me to rot. The Land of Waves. 3 nights later, the Ghost of the Mist arrived. The old bridge, rebuilt after the death of Zabuza and Haku, stood proud once more, a symbol of peace between the nations. The irony was not lost on Naruto as he crouched upon the steel beams, hidden behind the fog he had Lien. D to command. Below, Team Kakashi moved cautiously. Kakashi himself walked ahead, mask up, Sharingan eye flickering. Behind him was Sakura and a younger duo of shinobi from the new generation, eager, naive, and unscarred. Naruto's breath was steady. His pulse was not. He watched them for hours, unseen, his chakra perfectly hidden. Every movement, every gesture, every familiar voice pulled him closer to a world he no longer belonged to. Greater than, they looked the same, he thought bitterly. Like nothing changed. But everything had. That night, he struck. Ghost and shadow. The first kunai fell without a sound, a perfect throw, slicing through the night air, deflecting Kakashi's trap wire before it could spring. Kakashi spun instantly, eyes narrowing. Greater than, show yourself. No answer. A shadow darted through the fog. The younger ninja shouted and drew their weapons, too slow. A water clone struck them from behind, disarming them in one motion before vanishing into mist. Sakura moved to defend, but her punch struck nothing. The mist itself seemed alive, thick, sentient. Kakashi moved next, his Sharingan scanning for chakra. But all he saw was emptiness. Greater than, no chakra signature. He muttered, that's impossible. Then a voice came, soft and cold as the rain. Greater than, you taught me to hide my weaknesses, sensei. Kakashi froze. His blood ran cold. Greater than, Naruto. The fog shifted, and the figure emerged, taller, leaner, his eyes sharper but still impossibly blue. His headband bore the symbol of Kirigakure. His presence was like a ghost returned from the dead. Greater than, you shouldn't have come here, Naruto said, voice low and controlled. Kakashi stared at him, unable to believe what he was seeing. You're alive, all this time. Greater than, alive. Naruto's lips curved into a bitter smile. Alive is generous. I've been surviving. Sakura took a hesitant step forward. Naruto, it's us. You don't have to do this. Please. Naruto's eyes hardened. I do. He flicked his wrist. 3 kunai flew, not at him, but at the ropes above, cutting down the supply crates from the bridge's scaffolding. The explosion of debris forced the Leaf Shinobi back, blinding them in chaos. Kakashi barely had time to grab Sakura before the smoke cleared, and Naruto was gone. The Hunter and the Ghost. The next day, the Mist Silent Corps received news: the mission was incomplete. Ao was furious. May, however, only smiled. He didn't fail. He hesitated. Ao scowled. That's worse. May's gaze was distant, her tone soft. No. That means there's still hope for him. Naruto, meanwhile, stayed in the forests near the wave border. He couldn't return yet, not until the Mist Scouts confirmed success. But his mind was no longer focused. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Kakashi's look of disbelief. Sakura's voice, trembling with pain. And beneath it all, the faint whisper of Zabuza's words. Kill your heart, or it will kill you. Maybe that's what was happening now. The ambush. 3 days later, Naruto's hesitation came back to haunt him. Leaf reinforcements arrived. Anbu trackers, led by Sai and Yamato, both veterans of Naruto's era. They didn't come to kill him. They came to bring him home. Naruto sensed them long before they reached him. His reflexes kicked in instantly. Shadow clones spread through the mist, creating false chakra echoes while he moved silently through the trees. But Yamato's wood release counted him. Roots burst from the ground, pinning Naruto mid-dash. In seconds, he was surrounded. Sai lowered his ink brush. Naruto Uzumaki, he said calmly. You're to come with us to Konoha. Peacefully. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Peacefully isn't my style. In one fluid motion, he released a burst of chakra so dense it shattered the wooden restraints. Water erupted from the ground, forming spiraling blades around him. The mist thickened, choking the air. You should have stayed away, he said, vanishing into the fog. Sai's ink beasts lunged, Yamato's branches twisted, and the battle began. The forest erupted into chaos, soundless, deadly, and fast. Naruto moved like liquid shadow, his water style seamless and fluid, cutting through ink and wood with surgical precision. But the Leaf Shinobi fought differently. They didn't aim to kill. They aimed to capture, and that hesitation cost them dearly. Within minutes, only Yamato remained standing, panting, his armor cracked. Why, Naruto? He shouted. Why fight us? You know we'd welcome you back. Naruto stopped, standing amidst the swirling mist, ice cold but uncertain. Because the boy you knew, the one who wanted your acceptance, he died the night you left him. The decision. Naruto could have finished it. His kunai was already drawn. But he didn't. He turned away. The mist swallowed him whole. Back at the shoreline, Naruto stared at his reflection in the dark waters, at the faint trace of his leaf Haitai 8 still hanging beneath his mist one, hidden but never removed. You'll never outrun it, a voice said from behind. It was May. She stood on the water effortlessly, her expression unreadable. The leaf will always be part of you, Naruto. You can hide behind mist, masks, and numbers, but your heart still bleeds for that village. Naruto didn't deny it. He didn't look away either. Then what do I do? He asked quietly. You decide what kind of monster you want to be, May said. The one they created, or the one who chooses who to kill. Naruto's reflection flickered as the fog rolled in again. Maybe you'll be something else, he said. Not a monster, not a hero, just me. Epilogue, The Blade Between Worlds. That night, the mist was silent. In the Mizukage's office, May looked at the intelligence scroll Ao had just delivered. What is it? She asked. Ao's voice was uneasy. Reports from the Land of Fire. The Hokage has issued an official statement. He hesitated, then added. Naruto Uzumaki is declared missing nin, but not an enemy. May's lips curved into a faint smile. So they still can't let go either. Outside, beneath the endless fog, Naruto walked alone along the shoreline, no longer the boy from the leaf, no longer ghost of the mist, but something far more dangerous. A shinobi who walked between both worlds, loyal to none, and free for the first time in his life. The fog that never clears. The mist was a living thing. It whispered through the trees, curled around the village streets, and lingered in every breath. For most, it was a curse. For Naruto Uzumaki, it was home. Years had passed since he'd been taken in by Kirigakure. Years since the leaf had turned its back on him. Now, he was no longer the loud, impulsive boy who dreamed of being Hokage. He was the ghost of the mist, a weapon crafted from silence and shadow. But beneath the stillness of his new life, something human still stirred. A flicker of warmth, a memory of laughter, a light that refused to die, no matter how much blood he washed it in. The Silent Core. Deep beneath the Mizukage's tower lay the Silent Core compound, a maze of tunnels where the mist never lifted. The walls were engraved with seals that suppressed chakra signatures, and every corridor smelled faintly of steel and salt. Here, Naruto trained under the tutelage of Ao and Haku's surviving mentor, an elderly swordsman named Rei Sazanami. Rei was a legend, once one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, before he had chosen exile to escape the Bloody Mist era. Now, he was Naruto's master. Greater than, again, Rei barked. Naruto, sweat dripping down his temple, raised his blade. It was Haku's Senbon blade, reforged into a hybrid katana, elegant, lightweight, deadly. Rei moved like water, his strikes fluid, unpredictable. Naruto blocked 1, then 2, but the third slipped through, slicing across his shoulder. Greater than, you're still hesitating, Rei muttered. You think before you kill. That's not the mist's way. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Thinking keeps me alive. Greater than, no, Rei said, stepping back. It keeps you weak. Quote. Naruto clenched his jaw. Then I'll find a way to be both. The old swordsman smiled faintly. You sound like her. Naruto blinked. Her. Rei turned, looking toward the exit tunnel. Mei Terumi. She said the same thing when she spared a man who tried to kill her. Naruto smirked slightly. Guess she's soft too. Rei's gaze sharpened. Careful, boy. Soft hearts die first in this village. Greater than, maybe, Naruto said quietly, lowering his blade. But they die human. Rei stared at him for a long time, and then nodded once. Greater than, fine. Let's see how long your humanity lasts. Ghost missions. The next 3 years hardened Naruto beyond recognition. He infiltrated fortresses without leaving footprints. He silenced warlords whose names were never spoken again. He executed traitors who had once called him brother. But the missions that haunted him most were not the kills. They were the children he found on the battlefield. Small, trembling faces that reminded him of himself, of the orphan who once dreamed of friends and acknowledgement. So he began breaking the rules. Quietly, secretly. When ordered to eliminate targets, he sometimes spared them. When sent to destroy villages harboring rebels, he helped them flee. No one ever caught him. Not even Mei. Or so he thought. The Mizukage's test. One night, as rain lashed against the glass of the Mizukage's office, Mei summoned him. Her expression was unreadable, half amusement, half warning. Greater than, you've been busy, she said, hands folded beneath her chin. Naruto tilted his head slightly. Always. Greater than, I'm not talking about missions. I'm talking about the ones you don't complete. The air in the room grew heavier. Naruto's hand twitched near his kunai pouch. Greater than, you knew? He asked. Mei's lips curved. Of course I knew. You think the Mizukage doesn't have eyes everywhere. Naruto didn't flinch. So why am I still breathing? Mei stood, walking slowly around her desk until she was behind him. When she spoke, her voice was low, almost gentle. Greater than, because I wanted to see what kind of man you'd become if I let your conscience live. Naruto frowned. And, greater than, you became dangerous, she whispered. Too dangerous to kill, and too human to trust. He turned slightly, his gaze locking with hers. Greater than, then why keep me here? Greater than, because the mist isn't what it used to be, Mei said softly. We need someone like you, someone who remembers what mercy feels like. Quote. Naruto didn't respond. He just stared out the rain-streaked window. Greater than, there's a mission, Mei continued. And it's going to test what little humanity you still have. Mission, Silent Tide. Target, a rogue Mist Splinter Cell trafficking bloodline children to underground labs in the land of waterfalls. Objective, eliminate the leaders. Rescue the children. Naruto's gut twisted as he read the scroll. He had seen this kind of mission before, the same kind that had turned him into what he was now. Greater than, when do I leave? He asked. Greater than, you already have, May said, tossing him a sealed envelope. This contains the Mist's secondary objective. Open it when you arrive. He caught it silently, tucking it away. Greater than, and Naruto, May added as he reached the door. He glanced back. Greater than, if you fail this mission, I won't send anyone to retrieve your body. Quote, Naruto smirked faintly. Then I guess I'll just have to walk back. The bloodline trade. The land of waterfalls was quiet, green, and deceptively peaceful. Naruto moved through the forest like a shadow, silent, invisible, leaving nothing but ripples in puddles. By dusk, he reached the hideout, a massive, sunken structure half covered by moss. The smell of blood and chemicals burned his nostrils. Inside, the corridors were lit by flickering torches. Naruto crept through them like a ghost, his senses sharp. He found them in the lower chamber, half a dozen children in cages. Their eyes glowed faintly, Byakugan, Sharingan, and other rare Kekkei Genkai. A scientist was documenting their chakra readings when a kunai pierced his throat. Naruto moved through the lab methodically, one strike, one kill. Each enemy fell before they could even scream. He opened the cages, whispering, quiet. Follow me. The children didn't speak, they just nodded, trembling. Naruto led them through the underground tunnel to safety. But before they reached the exit, he felt it. A massive chakra spike. The Mist's reinforcements had arrived, but not to help. The envelope. Naruto ripped open the sealed envelope May had given him. Greater than, secondary objective, no witnesses. Eliminate all assets to prevent bloodline leakage. His heart froze. All assets. That meant the children. He stared at the message for a long time, the words swimming before his eyes. Then he crushed the scroll in his fist. Greater than, not this time, he muttered. He drew his blade, turning to face the Mist operatives entering the tunnel. The battle beneath the falls. The Mist assassins moved in formation, their chakra signatures flaring in unison. They recognized him immediately. Greater than, Ghost of the Mist, their leader said coldly. You're disobeying orders. Quote, Naruto raised his blade. Orders don't make me human. The first assassin lunged. Naruto parried, sidestepped, and spun, slicing the man's throat open before the others even moved. The tunnel filled with the clang of steel, the hiss of water jutsu, and the screams of men who had never known fear until that moment. Naruto fought like water itself, flowing, relentless, unstoppable. Every movement was precise, every kill clean, but he wasn't fighting to win. He was fighting to protect. Behind him, the children cowered. He formed a seal, slamming his palm into the earth. Greater than, Sutan, Mist Shroud Barrier. A dome of water and mist erupted around them, a perfect defensive sphere. Stay inside, he shouted, turning back to face the assassins. The last of the Mist squad lunged with twin swords. Naruto caught one, twisted, and broke the man's arm before driving his blade through his chest. When the mist cleared, he was the only one standing. The weight of mercy. Naruto led the children through the forest until dawn. When they reached the coast, he collapsed to his knees, exhausted, bleeding from half a dozen wounds. The oldest child, a girl with pale lavender eyes, knelt beside him. Greater than, why did you save us? She asked softly. You're Mist, aren't you supposed to kill us? Naruto smiled weakly. Maybe, but I'm also something else. Greater than, what? He looked up at the sky, where the first light of morning cut through the fog. Greater than, someone who remembers what it feels like to be saved. The girl's eyes softened. She wrapped her small arms around him, and for a moment, just a moment, Naruto felt human again. The return. When Naruto returned to Kirigakure days later, the air around the Mizukage's tower was tense. Al waited at the gate, his Byakugan eye glowing faintly. Greater than, you ignored the secondary order, he said flatly. Naruto met his gaze without flinching. And I completed the mission. Greater than, you defied the Mizukage. Greater than, I saved lives. Ao's jaw tightened. You endangered this village for sentiment. Naruto stepped closer, his voice cold. If sentiment makes me weak, then maybe the mist's strength is its curse. Ao's hand twitched toward his blade, but Mei's voice stopped him. Greater than, enough. She stood at the top of the stairs, her cloak billowing. Her expression was unreadable. Greater than, leave us, she ordered. Ao hesitated, then obeyed. When they were alone, Mei approached Naruto. Greater than, you disobeyed me, she said quietly. Naruto didn't respond. Greater than, you saved them, even knowing what it meant. Still silent. Then Mei did something unexpected, she smiled. Greater than, good. Naruto blinked. Good. Greater than, the mist doesn't need more killers, she said softly. It needs ghosts who remember they were once alive. Naruto exhaled slowly. You knew I'd break the order. Mei nodded. That was the real test. The ghost's purpose. That night, Naruto stood once again atop the cliffs overlooking Kirigakure. The mist below swirled endlessly, thick, eternal, suffocating. But for the first time, he didn't feel trapped by it. He felt part of it. Greater than, maybe this village isn't cursed, he murmured. Maybe it's just, misunderstood. Quote, from the shadows, Mei's voice drifted softly. Greater than, and maybe you're the one who'll change that. Naruto didn't turn. He simply closed his eyes, feeling the wind on his face. Greater than, if I ever do, he whispered, it'll be for the ones who never got the chance. Quote, the mist curled around him like an embrace, no longer suffocating, but warm. Epilogue, the blade of the hidden mist. Years later, whispers spread across the nations. A lone shinobi in black had dismantled entire smuggling networks, silenced warlords, and freed hundreds of bloodline victims, but left no trace behind. He was neither hero nor villain. He was the ghost of the mist. A boy once abandoned by light, who found his purpose in the shadows. And turned the mist's curse into its redemption. Echoes of the ghost. The fog had become quieter lately. Or perhaps Naruto had. Every breath he took carried the damp scent of the ocean, and every shadow in Kirigakure seemed to whisper stories of lives taken, and lives saved. He had long stopped counting both. Now, when the villagers looked at him, they didn't flinch in fear anymore. They nodded, quietly, respectfully. The ghost of the mist had become something of a legend, not as a killer, but as a protector who operated in silence. Still, not everyone approved. The council's suspicion. Deep inside the Mizukage's chambers, the Mist Council met in secret. Ao stood beside Mei Terumi, his Byakugan gleaming faintly. Across the table sat three of the most influential elders of Kirigakure, grim-faced, traditional, and deeply wary of Naruto's growing influence. Greater than, he's too strong, Elder Fudo said flatly. And too loyal to no one but himself. Greater than, you're wrong, Mei said. Naruto has done more to stabilize our borders than any Anbu division. Quote, greater than, at what cost? Another elder demanded. His missions are untraceable, his methods unconventional. And he spares enemies. Ao crossed his arms. And yet, because of those spared enemies, we now have informants in every coastal nation. His compassion gives us leverage. Fudo slammed his palm on the table. Greater than, compassion gets you killed in the mist. Have you all forgotten what happens when we trust outsiders? Mei's gaze hardened. No one here has forgotten. Least of all Naruto. The room fell silent. Greater than, then what do you propose? Fudo asked finally. Mei leaned back in her chair, eyes narrowing. Greater than, I propose we stop underestimating him. The world is changing, and so must we. Quote, The Mission of Shadows. A week later, Naruto stood on the docks at dawn, the sea mist swirling around his ankles. Rei, his old sword master, approached from behind. Greater than, another mission. Naruto nodded, fastening the last strap of his black armor. Greater than, the Land of Lightning has begun raiding water's trade routes. They're testing our borders. Rei raised an eyebrow. And you're going alone. Naruto smirked. You taught me to be water. I'll flow where I'm needed. Quote. Rei's expression softened. And what will you do when the current drags you back to the leaf? Naruto's smile faded. Then I'll drown it before it drowns me. Rei chuckled. Still afraid to face what you left behind? Quote. Naruto sheathed his blade. No, just afraid of what I might do if I see it again. A ghost among clouds. The mission took Naruto north, across the stormy seas, into the jagged cliffs of the Land of Lightning. The raiders weren't simple bandits, they were mercenaries trained by rogue Shinobi, exiled from Kumo for experimenting with forbidden jutsu. Naruto infiltrated their camp at midnight, hidden within his own mist technique, a dense vapor infused with genjutsu properties that obscured sound, scent, and sight. Inside the main tent, he found something unexpected: maps of water's coastline marked with red ink, and letters bearing a familiar insignia. The leaf's Anbu symbol. Naruto's breath hitched. Greater than Konoha, he whispered. His fingers trembled as he unrolled the parchment. Each document confirmed the same truth: Leaf operatives were cooperating with Lightning mercenaries to sabotage Mist trade route. Not out of hatred, but strategy. The Leaf was quietly isolating Kirigakure to secure dominance in post-war politics. Naruto clenched his fists. Greater than, so that's how far they've fallen. The encounter. He burned the letters, destroyed the camp, and eliminated the raider leaders, but left one man alive. A spy with a scar across his eye. Greater than, tell your Hokage, Naruto said coldly, that the mist remembers. Quote. As he turned to leave, a faint shimmer in the air made him freeze. A chakra ripple, too familiar to mistake. Before he could move, a voice echoed through the fog. Greater than, Naruto Uzumaki. The mist parted, revealing a squad of masked shinobi. Anbu. Their leader stepped forward and removed his mask, a man with short dark hair, a scar over his cheek, and sharp eyes full of regret. Greater than, Sai, Naruto said, his voice low. Sai nodded once. You were never supposed to see this. Quote. Greater than, then maybe you shouldn't have betrayed what the leaf was meant to protect. Sai's expression didn't change. You left us, Naruto. You walked away. This is the world we live in now, politics and survival. Quote. Greater than, and murder, Naruto spat. You're hurting innocent people for power. Greater than, and you're killing for the same reason, Sai replied quietly. Naruto's eyes flashed. No, I kill to stop monsters. You kill to feed them. Quote. The air trembled with killing intent. Sai sighed. Then I suppose this conversation is over. The Anbu drew their blades. Naruto didn't hesitate. Battle in the mist. The clash was silent and brutal. Naruto's body moved like liquid, weaving between blades with impossible precision. His kenjutsu training from Rei and his chakra control from Mist's Anbu merged perfectly, a deadly dance of speed and misdirection. Sai's ink beasts lunged from the shadows, roaring with fury. Naruto countered with water style, Shadow Tide, flooding the battlefield in a reflective surface. Dozens of watery clones emerged, their forms half solid, half vapor. Each clone wielded a blade of condensed chakra mist. The Anbu fought fiercely, but their visibility was gone. Their ears filled with echoes, whispers that weren't real. Naruto was everywhere and nowhere, striking like a phantom. In the end, only Sai remained standing. Bleeding, panting, surrounded by corpses that dissolved into the mist. Naruto's blade rested against his neck. Greater than, go home, Naruto said coldly. Tell the leaf that the next time they send spies into the mist, they won't come back. Quote. Sai met his eyes, emotion flickering behind his calm. Greater than, you've changed. Greater than, no, Naruto said quietly. You all did. He vanished into the fog. The weight of betrayal. Back in Kirigakure, Mei listened in silence as Naruto reported everything. When he finished, the room felt colder. Greater than, so, Mei murmured, Konoha seeks to choke us through trade and alliance control. Naruto nodded. Greater than, then they've forgotten who their friends are, Mei said bitterly. Naruto's voice was low. They were never mine. For the first time, Mei looked at him not as a weapon, but as a man scarred by two worlds. Greater than, you still care, she said quietly. That's why this hurts you. Quote. Naruto laughed softly. Care? No, Mizukage-sama. I stopped caring when they let me starve. Greater than, then why do your eyes still soften when you talk about them? He froze. Mei's smile was sad. You can't kill what made you, Naruto. You can only outgrow it. Naruto didn't reply, but later that night, as he stood by the mist-covered shore, he whispered to the wind. Greater than, maybe someday, I'll stop being their shadow. Rumors and consequences. The news of Naruto's actions spread like wildfire. The Leafs Council convened in panic, Danzo's ghost still haunted their politics, and now a former Jinchuriki was destabilizing their secret operations. Tsunade's successor, Kakashi Hatake, watched the reports in silence. Greater than, he's alive, Shikamaru said quietly, laying down the scrolls. Kakashi's one visible eye darkened. Alive, and dangerous. Greater than, he saved civilians, Shikamaru continued. He didn't attack anyone unprovoked. Greater than, that's what makes him dangerous, Kakashi muttered. He's not acting out of rage anymore. He's thinking, planning. Sakura, standing in the corner, clenched her fists. Greater than, then we have to bring him home. Kakashi looked at her, the same gentle sadness in his eye that he once gave Minato. Greater than, you can't bring back someone who's already found a new home. Sakura's voice trembled. Then I'll remind him what the old one meant. The return to Blood Mist. Months passed. The Mist and Leaf began a cold war, diplomacy masked by smiles, trade sealed with hidden threats. Naruto stayed busy. Missions, assassinations, rescues. Every night, the fog grew thicker around him, yet quieter inside. Until one day, the past came walking back into that mist. He was returning from a coastal mission when he sensed it, a familiar chakra signature, flickering weakly in the distance. He followed it through the trees until he found her. Sakura Haruno, kneeling beside a wounded mist scout, her chakra glowing soft green. Her clothes were torn, her face streaked with dirt, but her eyes, those stubborn, bright eyes, hadn't changed. Naruto froze. For the first time in years, he didn't know whether to move forward or vanish. Sakura looked up, and her breath caught. Greater than, Naruto. He didn't speak. She took a step forward, voice trembling. It's really you. Greater than, you shouldn't be here, he said finally, voice calm, cold. Greater than, then why are you? She shot back. Naruto's eyes softened for just a moment, but the mist thickened between them, swallowing whatever he might have said. The Mist's choice. They weren't alone. A squad of Konoha trackers emerged from the trees, weapons drawn. Naruto immediately stepped between them and Sakura. Greater than, stand down, he ordered. The leader, an older jonin named Daichi, scoffed. Greater than, you're not our commander anymore, Uzumaki. Greater than, no, Naruto said quietly, unsheathing his blade, but I am the one you don't want to cross. Daichi sneered. You think the mist will protect you. You're nothing but a stray dog hiding behind fog. The mist in the clearing stirred, as if alive. Naruto's eyes flashed gold. Greater than, then let me show you what the fog hides. A single movement, too fast to see, and the Konoha squad fell, bound by tendrils of chakra mist. Sakura gasped. Naruto, stop. He didn't look at her. Greater than, they came to kill me, Sakura. I'm just returning the favor. Greater than, you're not a monster. She shouted. Don't become what they say you are. Naruto hesitated. The fog shimmered around them, reflecting memories, laughter, ramen, sunlight. Slowly, he lowered his blade. The mist released the jonin, who fell unconscious but alive. Naruto turned away. Greater than, you should go back, he murmured. Konoha doesn't need ghosts. Sakura's voice broke. But I do. He froze, the words slicing deeper than any kunai. For a moment, the fog cleared, and she saw the boy he used to be. Then he vanished again. The ghost's farewell. Back in the mist, Naruto stood once more before the Mizukage. Greater than, you met her, Mei said softly. He didn't deny it. Greater than, and. Naruto looked out the window, where dawn was breaking over the ocean. Greater than, and I realized something, he said quietly. I've spent years hiding in this fog because I thought I didn't belong anywhere else. Mei watched him carefully. And now, Naruto turned, his eyes calm, resolute. Greater than, now I know the fog isn't a prison. It's a choice. He placed his headband, engraved with the mist symbol, on her desk. Greater than, you're leaving, she said. He nodded. Not forever, but there's something I need to settle. A shadow I need to face. May smiled faintly. Then go, ghost of the mist. The world will hear your silence. Epilogue. Whisper across nations. Word spread quickly, a mist assassin seen traveling west, alone. Whispers followed him like ghosts. Some said he was hunting traitors. Others said he sought redemption. But those who met him spoke of something stranger, a shinobi who appeared from the fog, saved lives, and vanished before dawn. A legend, a myth, a boy once abandoned by light, who became the shadow that guarded it. Naruto Uzumaki, the ghost of the mist. The path through the fog. The sea whispered as the small wooden boat cut across the waves. Naruto sat at the bow, his cloak fluttering in the cold wind, eyes fixed on the horizon where water met sky. He wasn't running anymore. He was returning, though not as the boy who once dreamed of acknowledgement. Now, he moved like mist itself, calm, formless, but impossible to hold. Behind him, the ocean stretched endlessly, carrying with it the scent of home and war. Greater than, Konoha, he murmured, the word rough on his tongue. The thought didn't bring warmth. It brought questions. Was Kakashi still Hokage? Was Sakura safe? Did anyone even remember him beyond whispers and warnings? A school of silver fish scattered beneath his reflection, one face above, one shadow below. The sea did not answer. Arrival in the land of fire. By dusk, Naruto reached the Fire Nation coast. Dense forests loomed beyond the shore, thick with memories he'd buried long ago. His chakra flared instinctively, spreading through the trees like smoke. Every sound sharpened, the crackle of distant campfires, the faint chakra signatures of patrols, the pulse of a village breathing in peace. Peace built on deceit. He pulled his hood lower and moved silently through the undergrowth. The training of the mist Anbu had refined his every instinct, each step measured, each breath controlled. Even animals didn't sense him. The ghost walked unseen. But Konoha was no longer the same. The outer watchtowers had been rebuilt stronger, their chakra seals updated, their sentries trained to sense infiltrators. Naruto watched them from a distance, remembering when those towers were only half finished and he had painted graffiti across the walls for fun. Now, they were symbols of control. He exhaled slowly. Greater than, guess everyone grew up after all. He turned toward the village outskirts, but before he could take a step, he felt it, a flicker of killing intent. Faint, hidden, watching him. Ambush in the woods. Kunai hissed through the air. Naruto moved a fraction of a second before they struck, twisting aside as three masked shinobi dropped from the trees. Their movements were efficient. Leaf Anbu. Greater than, identify yourself. One barked. Naruto didn't answer. He drew his blade, the mist around him condensing until the entire clearing dimmed like twilight. Greater than, he's using a cloaking technique. Another shouted. The first stepped forward. We'll do this the hard way. In a blur of movement, the world erupted into motion. Steel clashed. Chakra hissed. Naruto's mist thickened, swallowing sound and sight alike. He moved like a ghost among them, one moment solid, the next vapor. A hand reached for him from behind. He parried, twisted, and disarmed the shinobi with surgical precision. When the mist cleared, all three Anbu were unconscious, alive, but shaken. Naruto crouched beside the leader, pulling off the mask. The face beneath was young, barely older than he'd been when he first became a genin. Greater than, still sending children to fight ghosts, he muttered. He looked toward the direction of Konoha. The village lights shimmered faintly beyond the trees. Greater than, I'll give you one warning, he said softly to the unconscious guard. Tell your Hokage the mist's ghost walks his forests. Then he vanished. Konoha at midnight. The hidden leaf slept under a blanket of calm. But at its heart, the Hokage's tower burned with light. Kakashi stood before a window, mask covering half his face, reading the latest report from the forest perimeter. Shikamaru stood beside him, sighing deeply. Greater than, so, he's really back. Kakashi nodded slowly. And he didn't kill anyone. That tells me he's not here for vengeance. Greater than, yeah, but it still complicates things, Shikamaru muttered. The mist is already tense about our trade negotiations. If Naruto's acting independently, they might use him as leverage. Kakashi folded the report. He's never been anyone's weapon. The door opened quietly. Sakura entered, her eyes tired but sharp. Greater than, you called for me. Quote. Kakashi handed her the report. Her hands trembled slightly as she read. Greater than, he was here. Greater than, briefly, Kakashi said. He didn't attack, just left a message. Greater than, then I'll find him, she said, voice firm. Greater than, Sakura. Greater than, no, she interrupted. You don't understand. He left because we didn't believe in him. If he's here now, it's for a reason. Let me go. Kakashi's visible eyes softened. You might not like the person he's become. Quote. Greater than, then I'll remind him who he was. Kakashi exhaled. You'll need backup. Greater than, no, Sakura said. If he sees anyone else, he'll vanish. He'll talk to me. After a long silence, Kakashi nodded. Greater than, then go. But be careful, ghosts don't always want to be found. Reunion in the rain. Night fell again as Sakura reached the edge of the village forest. Rain had begun to fall, soft, steady, blurring the lines between shadow and memory. She sensed him before she saw him. A faint chakra pulse in the mist ahead, steady and cold. Greater than, Naruto, she whispered. He stepped from the fog silently, his cloak damp with rain, eyes unreadable. For a long moment, neither spoke. Finally, Sakura broke the silence. You didn't have to sneak around. Greater than, old habits, he said. His voice was deeper, calmer, but still carried that faint rasp she remembered. Greater than, Kakashi knows you're here, she continued. So does Shikamaru. Greater than, then they also know I'm not their enemy. Sakura's eyes softened. You could have just come home. Naruto smiled faintly, but it didn't reach his eyes. Greater than, home, he repeated. That word doesn't mean much to someone who grew up being chased out of it. Sakura's breath caught. Naruto, that was years ago, things have changed. Greater than, have they? He asked quietly. Or did you just forget what it felt like? Quote. She took a step closer. We didn't forget you. Greater than, no, he said. You mourned me. There's a difference. Rain fell heavier between them. Greater than, why are you here? She asked finally. Greater than, because the leaf is playing dangerous games, Naruto said, eyes hard. You're forming secret pacts with the land of lightning. You're isolating the mist. You're preparing for another war. Sakura shook her head. That's not true. Greater than, I've seen the documents, he snapped. Konoha is choking the other nations with diplomacy and trade. The peace you're proud of is built on chains. Sakura's lips parted, but she couldn't deny it. Politics had turned darker lately, even within the Hokage's office. Greater than, we're trying to prevent another war, she said weakly. Greater than, by starting a quieter one. Naruto's tone was sharp. That's not peace. That's control. The anger in his voice faded into sorrow. Greater than, I thought Konoha was better than this. Quote. Sakura looked at him for a long moment, then whispered. Greater than, then help us fix it. Naruto's expression wavered. You think they'll listen to me now? To a ghost they exiled. Greater than, they'll listen if I make them, she said fiercely. Naruto almost smiled. Greater than, you haven't changed at all. Greater than, neither have you, she said softly. You still care. He turned away, mist curling around him like armor. Greater than, caring doesn't save people in the shadows. Quote. Greater than, no, she said, stepping closer, but it's what makes you human. He froze. The rain stopped. For a heartbeat, the world held its breath. Then he sighed. You should go back, Sakura. I'm not done here yet. Quote. Greater than, then I'm not leaving. He looked at her, really looked, and for the first time since leaving Konoha, his guard dropped slightly. Greater than, you'll get yourself killed. Greater than, then you'll have to protect me. Quote. A small, incredulous laugh escaped him. Greater than, you're impossible. Greater than, so are you. The fog and the fire. Days turned into weeks as Sakura followed Naruto's trail through the forests and border villages. He moved like smoke, tracking evidence of the Leaf's covert alliances, intercepting messengers, uncovering the corruption buried under peace treaties. At first, she watched from a distance. Then, gradually, he allowed her to walk beside him. They didn't speak of the past, only of missions, tactics, and the people caught between nations' greed. But at night, when they camped under the stars, silence filled with unspoken words. One night, as they watched the fire crackle, Sakura finally asked, "Greater than, do you ever miss it?" Naruto looked at the flames. Greater than, the village. Greater than, everything. The friends, the laughter, us. He was quiet for a long time. Greater than, sometimes, he admitted. But I learned something in the mist. When you live in darkness long enough, you start seeing light differently. It stops being warm. It starts being dangerous. Sakura frowned. You sound like Zabuza. He chuckled softly. Maybe I am. But even monsters can protect people. Greater than, you're not a monster. Greater than, tell that to the people who still whisper my name like a curse. Quote. Sakura looked away, tears glinting faintly. Greater than, then let me change that. He stared at her, the flickering fire reflecting in his eyes, blue and endless as the sea. Greater than, you can't, he said gently. Because I already did. Assassins in the mist. Their investigation led them to a hidden outpost near the border. Leaf and Lightning Shinobi working together under false flags, controlling smuggling routes and assassinating mist diplomats. The truth was worse than Naruto expected. This wasn't just about trade, it was about power balance. Someone in Konoha's council was manipulating all 5 nations, and Naruto's interference threatened to expose everything. As night fell, the assassins came for them. Dozens of cloaked figures surrounded the camp. Naruto's eyes narrowed. So they finally showed themselves. Sakura stood beside him, kunai drawn. What's the plan? Quote. Naruto smirked. Same as always. I'll handle the shadows. You handle the light. The forest exploded with motion. Blades flashed, jutsu roared, and the air turned thick with chakra and rain. Naruto moved like a phantom, silent, efficient, unrelenting. Each strike was precise, each movement a blend of mist stealth and leaf agility. Sakura fought beside him, her strength shattering the ground, her chakra blazing like wildfire. For the first time, they fought not as strangers, but as equals, 2 sides of the same storm. When the last assassin fell, the clearing was silent again. Naruto stood over the leader, a masked figure with the leaf insignia burned into his armor. Greater than, who sent you? Naruto demanded. The man spat blood. You think you can stop this? The world belongs to the strong. And you're just a ghost of a forgotten war. Naruto's expression darkened. Then let me haunt you one last time. He drove his blade into the ground beside the man's head. Greater than, tell your masters, peace built on blood will drown in it. The man sneered. You can't fight everyone, Uzumaki. Naruto looked up, the mist swirling like wings around him. Greater than, watch me. Whispers before dawn. By morning, the outpost was gone, consumed by fire and fog. Sakura sat by the shore, exhausted, as Naruto stood at the edge of the cliff, staring toward the distant glow of Konoha. Greater than, so what now? She asked softly. Greater than, now, he said, we give them the truth. Greater than, you'll come back with me. He hesitated. Greater than, I don't belong there anymore. Greater than, maybe not, she said, but maybe that's why they need you. Quote. He turned to her. For a moment, his mask of calm broke, and she saw the boy she'd once known, the stubborn, reckless, endlessly hopeful Naruto. Greater than, you really believe that? He asked. Greater than, I always have. Quote. He smiled then, a real smile, rare and bright as sunlight breaking through fog. Greater than, then maybe, it's time to stop being a ghost. The sky above the land of fire was gray, heavy with the scent of rain. Naruto stood before the gates of Konoha, the same gates he had once dreamed of passing through as a child, grinning and shouting that he would be Hokage someday. Now, his cloak was dark with the symbol of the mist stitched on the back, and his eyes carried the weight of too many ghosts. The guards froze as they saw him. One reached for his weapon, the other hesitated. Then the taller one swallowed hard and whispered. Greater than, stand down, that's Uzumaki Naruto. The gates creaked open. Inside, people stopped mid-step, whispering. Some stared with awe, others with fear. Children peeked from behind stalls, curious about the man who walked like a storm but said nothing. Naruto ignored the eyes. His gaze stayed fixed on the Hokage Tower, the heart of everything he once protected, and everything that broke him. Sakura walked beside him, silent, her cloak torn and stained from battle. At the top of the tower, Kakashi waited. His face was calm, but his visible eye flickered with relief and guilt. When Naruto entered, the two men stood across from each other, the air between them thick with everything left unsaid. Greater than, you've changed, Kakashi said quietly. Greater than, so has Konoha, Naruto replied. And not for the better. He tossed a scroll onto the desk. It hit with a dull thud. Inside were the names of every council member involved in the secret assassinations, the smuggling deals, the corruption that had poisoned the village from within. Kakashi opened it slowly, eyes widening. You risked your life for this. Greater than, I risked my soul, Naruto said. And the mist paid for it in blood. Sakura stepped forward. It's true, Kakashi-sensei. The council was using hidden operations in the name of peace. They would have started another war if Naruto hadn't stopped them. Silence filled the room. Finally, Kakashi took off his mask and sighed deeply. I should have seen this coming. I trusted him too much. Naruto shook his head. You trusted the dream of peace. That's not a crime. Greater than, and you? Kakashi asked softly. Do you still believe in it? Naruto looked out the window, watching the rain begin to fall again, soft, endless, like the mist he came from. Greater than, peace isn't given, he said quietly. It's earned. And sometimes, you have to walk through hell to reach it. Quote. Kakashi smiled faintly. Still the same Naruto. Greater than, no, Naruto said. Just one who finally stopped pretending the world is fair. He turned to leave. Greater than, where will you go? Sakura asked. He looked back at her, a small, sad smile tugging at his lips. Greater than, wherever the shadows need light. Sakura's voice broke. You could stay. With us. With me. For a moment, Naruto's eyes softened. Greater than, if I stay, I'll become what I fought against. I'm not meant to rule in the sunlight, Sakura. I'm meant to make sure it never goes out. He stepped into the rain. Greater than, tell the village they're safe again. But tell them the price of peace isn't paid yet. The gates opened once more. Naruto walked beyond them, vanishing into the mist that had once made him a killer, now reborn as something else entirely. A whisper drifted behind him, carried by the wind and rain. Greater than, goodbye, Naruto. He didn't turn back, because some legends don't live in the light. They live in the fog between worlds, where heroes and monsters become the same thing. And in that fog, the ghost of the mist walked on, unseen. Protecting the world that had once cast him aside. Thank you.